Hey everyone, we're live this week from New York City, and I'm in one of my favorite places in the world, Washington Square Park. Let's take a look. There's the fountain and the monument right there. Super beautiful. There's a lot of activity going on today, this Saturday morning, and things are going to be a really good day. So let's walk and talk. We're going to find a shaded area that's a little quieter to do the show today. Those guys are really fun back there. I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake. Shake it up, shake it up. Ooh. All right. Gonna show you guys a little bit more of what's going on in the park, because I do have to walk through a little bit of it, so I hope you enjoy. Lovely musicians playing, and I just really love this place a lot. It's just been a really inspiring place for me personally. I actually lived in New York through a decent amount of my 20s, and I went to school at NYU, which is actually on the corner of the park, the northeast corner, and it really taught me so much living here, being able to see so many different kinds of people, so many different walks of life, all of that jazz. It's it's a really rare sight. Lots of people with pigeons. All right, gonna come over this way, a little bit further away from the saxophone, which wasn't there when I was getting ready earlier, but we'll take the first good spot we can find. Looks like over here. All right, well, welcome to the show. I'm Jessica Disbrow, licensed social worker and registered psychotherapist in the state of Colorado. I'm also the founder and primary therapist of Higher Consciousness Healing. We're a small mental health practice in Lakewood, Colorado, offering innovative services such as online education, community building, individual and group counseling services. For more information about our practice, definitely check us out on the web at www.higherconsciousnesshealing.org. Thank you so much for joining the show. You're watching our live video blog, which we air every Saturday at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we're actually airing from New York City today, so we're on Eastern Time, but it's still Mountain Time and Mountain Time. So I'm really glad you could join us. We talk about different mental health topics from a spiritual and scientific perspective. So welcome to the show. Today we're actually talking about gaslighting. What the heck is gaslighting? Well, the term comes from a 1944 film where a man drives his wife insane by making her doubt her perception, reality, and memories. And he does this really systematically and intentionally. Well, I believe that while some people are doing it systematically and intentionally, and that's not very nice, there are a lot of people who are doing it and they don't realize that's what they're doing. So I'm going to give kind of a different definition of gaslighting from all of the research that I've done, from personally having been gaslighted before by several different people. So I really kind of got that from a personal perspective as well. And then just seeing it so much with the young people I was working with here in New York City with domestic sex trafficking victims. So a lot of manipulation and control and coercion. Well, this is a topic I'm really familiar with, and it's something that I've really dug deeper in instead of just kind of giving the normal kind of definitions. I'm going to do a little something different. So why are we talking about this? That's first and foremost. The reason why we're talking about this is because everyone is susceptible to gaslighting. Basically because of our biology and our evolution. Now, as I've said, it's a form of manipulation and control, which some people don't realize they're doing, which makes it really dangerous, potentially. So people like narcissists, egotists, cult leaders, really not so nice people of the past who have swayed large groups of people to do what they want. Hitler and some other people I'm sure you could think of. And now, why is this actually happening? Now, what is going on here? Like, people are making you doubt your reality and perceptions to control and manipulate you. There's a few reasons why they might do that, but how is it so easy for them to do that? Because basically what they're doing is they're brainwashing you into believing their version of reality. And if you've been watching the show, the last couple episodes we've really dived into our very limited perspective that we have, and that we're being programmed through our early experiences, and if they're negative, we just replay that out in dysfunctional ways as adults. And we don't even realize we're doing it. You know, we blame it on other things, and it's hard to kind of wrap our head around. Well, within that, there's this really interesting thing that happens when we're kids. So think about being a baby, and even being in your mother's womb. You're connected to your mother, like you are your mother at that stage. And you're born, and you're now separated from your mother, but you don't really fully understand this. So you're still kind of enmeshed with your mother for like a year or two. And around 2 years old is really when we're supposed to separate. And now most of us, this whole age that we're experiencing at 2 and 3, a lot of people don't understand what's going on developmentally, and a lot of kids are getting kind of messed up at a really early age because of some of these things. And this is one of them. When a parent doesn't let their child explore and have its own independence and kind of do what they want to do, and they pull the child back and they say, no, you're going to conform to whatever I want you to do, and you just have to do that, the kid, because of survival, is going to be like, oh yes, mother, of course. I'm going to do whatever you say because I'm an infant basically, and I can't take care of myself. And so we buy into our parents' reality in a really hardcore way. And if we don't separate from that, we kind of set ourselves up to have other relationships just like that. We're enmeshed with people, and we kind of give our reality away. We kind of say, I don't understand what's going on all the time because I'm having a bunch of issues because of negative experiences. And so I can't make proper and sound judgments over what's going on with this other person in my life who may or may not be gaslighting me. And now gaslighting gets really complicated when we add in the nasty part of abuse. I'm just going to skip over that because I'm going to focus on gaslighting. It's a little loud in the background, but this is what you get for trying to shoot live in the park. I hope it's not too distracting. So people who are gaslighting are basically asking you to assume their worldview and values. Now, we're specifically talking about people who don't necessarily know that they're gaslighting, right? These are people who want to be right. They don't understand your opinion and why you would think the way you do. They're insistent that they're absolutely correct and there's no other way around it. You know, those are some narcissist gaslighters there. So it's really important for us to be aware of these things. Now, when we take an even broader perspective, because that's what I like to do here, really widen things up, when we're talking about gaslighting, you know, asking others to assume your worldview and values. What does that sound like to you all in the audience? To me, it kind of sounds like the reality that we're born into. We're born into a set of values, a certain culture, a certain place and time that has a context, and we're asked to 100% buy into that. So that's pretty fascinating. Now, when we talk about this, there's an okay way to do this and a not okay way. And the okay way is based in unconditional love and forgiveness and acceptance and having really strong family and community ties, and everybody's taking care of each other. That would be a beautiful world to be born into. But then there's the flip side of that, where things are not so nice and things are negative, and it's just like a rabbit hole effect of pain and suffering that people and families have a really hard time getting themselves out of. So let's start changing that. It all starts with you. Now, I'm going to go through 7 questions that I found from an article on Psychology Today. It's by Dr. I have it pulled up here. Dr. Eleanor Greenberg PhD, and it's about understanding narcissism. Are you being gaslighted by the narcissist in your life? And she comes with 3 really great questions that I wanted to reiterate on this show today. And I'll be happy to post this article as well, and other articles about gaslighting and upcoming posts. So I don't feel like you have to suck it in all now, and feel free to hit the pause button. All right, here we go. The 7 questions. Do they try to persuade you to doubt the evidence of your senses and what you're thinking and feeling? Self-doubt is a big reason why we kind of get sucked into this, because they're all about trying to create self-doubt in us because they think they're right, they think we're wrong. Do they try and convince you that what you believe is wrong and what they believe is right? Pretty self-explanatory. Do they react badly if you do not accept their version of the truth? Are they extremely persistent and sometimes keep the argument going long after you've asked them to please drop the issue? Do they attempt to bully you into admitting that they are 100% right and you are completely wrong? And notice that's very black and white thinking. And I really do think it's a sign of, other psychological things going on. And are the facts always twisted so that they're the victim and you always seem to be at fault? Now, this is a big one. People are really displacing their own issues onto other people. They're burying it so deep in their unconscious that they see it in the other person and they blame them, and they're not able to see it in themselves. And no, we really are mirrors with each other in intimate relationships. So if someone is gaslighting and doing some of these tactics, it's a really good time to look at yourself and what, changes you could make so people will treat you better, and treating yourself better too is always a good idea. And the last one, do they twist and turn the truth and make it such a long and complicated argument to prove their points that after a while you just become thoroughly confused? And now that's a really good one, because especially with the narcissists and people who are really ego-driven, they're going to just keep going and wear you down over time. And confusion is one of the big tactics that they use. And again, some intentionally, some not. And because a lot of us are already coming from we've all had challenges, we've all had our share of stuff to work through, and then add intimate relationships. Codependency gets complicated, and this whole gaslighting thing, people just really want you to be with them in their reality. And as we've seen on the show, there's just our perceptions of reality, and a lot of that is kind of questionable. So definitely watch the previous shows if you're wondering about that. So what do we do about all of this? It's so our culture is gaslighting us potentially, and just what we're born into and our family, and how do we go from here? Who are we? What are we doing? And that's really where the spiritual stuff comes in, and finding that connection to whatever spiritual source or whatever God that you believe. It's so important. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's about building awareness around these issues, deciding for yourself what you believe and what your values are deep down, despite what anybody else believes or thinks. And then, not buying into other people's versions of reality, and just being a conscious consumer of what your experiences are. Like I said, we act out all of these patterns unconsciously from our childhood, and if we don't build awareness, we're just reacting. And I think that's what you're seeing in a lot of cases all around this country and around the world. Thank you so much for watching. I was really excited to do this in one of my favorite places. It's wonderful. Get out there, be awesome. Next week, how do we decide what we believe? How do we be a critical consumer? I'm going to talk about that next week. If you liked today's episode, definitely like, share with your friends and family on Facebook. Definitely share my whole channel. I'm spreading a lot of valuable information that can help awaken people's higher consciousness. That's what I'm all about and what this company is all about. So we want to help you, and we can only do that by you helping yourself. So please share with your friends and family. Much love. Take care.